What about my love? Wasn't it enough? Just let me know so I can...
Number one on our list is a guy, and I'm so glad that we have him here because the maturation process of this young man, from me watching film on him and saying, I don't know what everybody in the country is talking about. This is not this young man's fault, and he's got the tools to be a national champion this year if they put it all together. They got all the weapons down there on the wide receiver front to do well. Their defense is always good. You know how the offensive line performs. No other than Clemson quarterback Cade Klubnik, former high school state champion against your boy Quinn Ewers.
Yep.
Yeah. So let's get into a little bit about Cade Klubnik, Khalid. Let's start off with you.
Cade Klubnik. Well, let's start off with the momentum that he has going into 2025. Right. I think I've talked about this multiple times on the show, but the way that he ended the season, it was a loss in the playoffs in his hometown of Austin, Texas, against the Longhorns in the first round of the college football playoffs. But what he did was so impressive. He went into a hostile environment against a fan base that is very familiar with who he is. He played his high school ball not even 20 minutes from there. And he went against the number one secondary in the country, who had allowed less than 5 passing touchdowns against them all season long. He went out there and he pushed them to the very edge. He passed for more yards than any quarterback had all season against them. He tossed more touchdowns than any quarterback had all season against them. And Cade Klubnik willed that team to as many points as they did, right? That 𝗕𝘂𝘀𝗀𝗀𝗀 in the running game couldn't get anything going. It was all Cade Klubnik, single-handedly against that defense, a heroic effort. And he has shown constant growth and maturation through 3 years of playing, 2 full years of starting, right? His first year as a freshman, split some playing time in different ways with 𝗎𝘂𝘂𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀. Well, and then eventually after that season became the full-time starter. And since then hasn't looked back.
Go back to 2022 and look how small Cade Klubnik was compared to everybody on that team as well. Like, he's been putting in that work, man. 36 touchdowns in college is insane.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that's what I was going to mention as well with mine. Like, you know, you look at it with 36 touchdowns, almost 4,000 rushing yards. Or not rushing yards, passing yards. You add in his rushing yards. He had over a total of 4K, like, total yards in college. And, like, all 6 of those interceptions, he didn't have a single game where he had multiple interceptions. It was either one interception, and that was it. You know, obviously, you look at his worst game, week 1 against Georgia. Obviously, it's Georgia. It was week 1. You know, it's not a lot going through, but, like, were any Clemson running backs or receivers drafted in this recent draft?
No, because
not
they're
really.
all young.
Yeah. Well, yes, they're all young, but still, like, in general, they're not usually, like, you know, can you really name, like, a big-time wide receiver?
I mean, Antonio Williams is one of the best returning slot receivers in the country, and TJ Moore and Bryant Wesco Jr.
They were freshmen.
Are probably the best, returning duo of guys and exiting their freshman year, going into their sophomore year.
So exiting freshman year. So, like, we're expecting them to get better as they go through. Like, this was all done.
Yeah, they're going to be a lot better this year, too.
Yeah, this is all done with freshman stuff. And it's like, they're not really known for, like, you know, going out and getting their weapons, especially now that Dad was actually using the transfer portal, something that he never does, you know. And so we look at that. You've got those guys returning off of freshman year. They're going to get better. Cade Klubnik, again, 36 touchdowns in college is absolutely insane. Not a multiple interception game, ranked 12th out of all quarterbacks with QBR.
And especially having 2 freshmen on your team, that's even
and had, like,
more incredible.
It's kind of like was what we saw with DJ Lagway. You know, they add and Jaden Ball. They added a young talent, and that was kind of the spark that was needed. That was the spark that was needed for Florida. Now we're expecting them to be better this year. You know, those guys were kind of the spark for Cade Klubnik and Clemson's offense. And again, we saw them in the playoffs and against Texas. You know, Cade Klubnik put it all out on the line for them, man. Almost 336 yards, 3 touchdowns on 43 passing attempts. You know, it's Man, this dude's gunslinger.
And
this also. I like that we have him at one because I feel like Dante and I have been talking about this dude for years, and there have been times where it's like
years.
where it's like
we were getting slammed online, bro.
It felt like it feels like with how it was with Tyler Shuck. It was like when nobody believed in Cade Klubnik, Dante and I were there like, no, you're wrong,
bro. I mean, we were getting absolutely demolished, and I'm like,
for what?
Let's be honest, like Tyler Brown and Bo Collins being his 2 wide receivers from the year before. Where did Bo Collins end up transferring to? Notre Dame.
Yeah.
So like, and nobody was saying those guys were superstars. I think they had like 500 yards apiece that year. He still put up 2,800 yards and 19 touchdowns, and another 4 on the ground. So, 20+ touchdown season. A lot of people would have killed to have Cade Klubnik on their team if they had a lot of other wide receivers around the country that didn't have the caliber quarterback probably would have liked Cade Klubnik to be there. This was just a coming out party for him last year, I think. Having Antonio Williams that was consistent, Brian Wesco Jr., TJ Moore, Jake Brendenstool is going to help with that. I think Pat Henry he's going to be back as their tight end this year. So like, bro, they're going to be legit. They're going to be legit. I wonder what the running back situation is going to look like, but I don't even think that even mattered for him to have done that well. Like, because he's been performing well, even with the Will Shipley and the Phil Moffitt on the stand.
Even with Will Shipley, yeah.
Yeah. Authentic says, my Giants signed Bo Collins as a UDFA. Think he's got a shot. Man, that dude has had such an up and down career from being injured to just everything, man. I think... I don't know. I mean, coming out of high school, he was supposed to be one of them ones.
Yeah.
And he just never panned out, man. The thing that like worries the most about me is when you have Cade Klubnik and Riley Leonard as your quarterbacks and you still underperform year after year. It's kind of concerning to me. You know what I'm saying? Because Bo Collins, let's say if we got Bo Collins, what he was supposed to be otherworldly.
Also, Torque is absolutely correct. That week 1 game with LSU and Clemson is going to go insane.
Yeah, Clemson and LSU playing the Tiger versus the Tigers. Which Death Valley are we getting?
Clemson.
Oh, so they got to play at Clemson?
Correct. Unless it's some off. Yep, no, but it's Clemson. I was going to say, unless it's like off site. Is not.
Yeah. I would have my reserves about Bo Collins. I mean, maybe he gets elevated now that he's in the NFL and can get the treatment for those injuries that he's had. I mean, he's had a tough road. It's just when I look at Cade Klubnik and Riley Leonard being your quarterback and he could have been the difference between them getting beat by Ohio State and actually winning against Ohio State. We haven't really seen the talent that's there for him now. But good for him. I mean, he got signed as a UDFA. Somebody believes in him.
Mm-hmm. Somebody believed in him.
I can't wait to watch it in the fake Death Valley.
Yeah.
Any final words for Cade, man? I think he's going to have a hell of a year.
I think, yeah. I think it's... I was about to say those 3, the top 3, but then we had Lenore Sellers. But we talked about earlier, like Garrett Nussmeier. If everything goes right, he's the potential like number 1. I think between Klubnik, Alar, and Nussmeier, this might be one of the like craziest quarterback classes to watch in this upcoming season of like draft eligible. Then you throw in the young guys like Sellers, Levitt, and Lagway, and it's going to be an insanely good year for quarterbacks.
Then it said Jalen Hyatt is our wide receiver 4. Bryce Ford Wheaton. Oh, Bryce Ford Wheaton from West Virginia. Oh my God. Bro, I was so up and down with him. Bro, I would never forget when we were watching that game against Pittsburgh and he dropped that pass in the end zone. From our boy JT Daniels.
That's why he retired.
Yeah, I was like, you were the reason why my boy JT retired. That's nasty work.
Straight up.
Well, let's get into the review of our top 10 and what our individual rankings ended up, because I think this is very, very interesting. So The ECG rankings, y'all already know Josh Hoover, Carson Beck, DJ Lagway, Arch Manning at 7, John Mateer, Garrett Nussmeier, Sam Levitt, Lenore Sellers, Drew Allar, and Cade Klubnik. Over to mine, I actually had Miller Moss at Louisville. Hey, look, Brian and Jeff Brom, I've seen them do some nasty work, bro. So getting a guy like Miller Moss over there. I got Devin Dampier at 8. I'm just telling y'all right now. We talked about Lenore Sellers being the Heisman favorite. Devin Dampier is flying under the radar. Carson Beck, I just believe in Carson more than other people. I think he has some of the best arm talent in the country. When he's on, he's on. And hopefully they surround him by everything that he wants down there in Miami. And stay away from the Twins, bro. Please, whatever you do. Now, I got DJ Lagway. That dude's incredible. John Mateer is incredible. Arch Manning, I believe in a little bit more than other people do. And then my top 3 are pretty much interchangeable, man. Just whatever day that you want to throw a quarterback to be on your team, the top 3, you playing a pickup game of football, one of these guys is going to ball out for you. Khalid's list got Arch Manning sitting there at 10, Avery Johnson at 9. Interesting. Drew Allar, Lenore Sellers, Carson Beck, Josh Hoover at 5. I love it, man. Hey, that's the correct answer.
Yes, sir. I'm a big Josh Hoover believer.
Yeah, John Mateer, Garrett Nussmeier, Sam Levitt at his number 2 spot, and Cade Klubnik. Sora already told you about how he felt about Carson Beck sitting there at number 10, Arch Manning at number 9. He's got Devin Dampier as well at 8. Let's go. Avery Smith actually goes up on his list versus at 9 on your list, Khalid. DJ, I was surprised to see this one. I ain't even gonna lie, brother. DJ Lagway at number 6 as a Florida fan.
I feel like if I put him higher, I'd be called biased. So it was like,
nah, I think
I had to beat the allegations, you know.
That's true, but like I think at number 5, it's probably the highest that DJ.
Yeah, but I also
go.
sit there and just go, man, with Sam Levitt being able to, like, Sam Levitt, we saw the full So the reason why Lagway's at 6, Lenore Sellers, we saw the full season. Sam Levitt, we saw the full season. Klubnik, Allar, and Nussmeier, those are going to be the top 3 quarterbacks drafted. So, you know, it's kind of hard pressed for me to put Lagway like above Sellers or Levitt.
Yeah, I agree. Sam Levitt, Garrett Nussmeier, Drew Allar, and Cade Klubnik. So I know NFL Draft Poll says that I don't have Sam Levitt on my list. He's like an 11 or 12 on if I had a top 20 list. I love that dude. I just the situation that Miller Moss is going to is very interesting. Love Josh Hoover. Devin Dampier, go watch his New Mexico days, man. My goodness. If you don't think that he's going to elevate Utah, there's a reason why you go from New Mexico, who's probably the worst team over the last couple of years, to Utah. Like, you don't make that type of jump unless my boy Whittingham out there trusts in you. And he's had some pretty good quarterbacks. You know, rest in peace to Cam Rising in his career.
Cam Rising for like multiple years, but yeah.
So screenshot this, do whatever you got to do. I'm going to post this on social media a little later. This is our preseason top 10 quarterbacks. I hope all these guys have a great year moving forward.